Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, let me close the public portion. Board, is there further discussion, or do you think we're ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the same conditions as last time.
Sort of.
Anything else?
Yeah, let me just maybe craft a motion.
Okay.
And, so this would be for preliminary and final site plan approval and the approval of the 4 variances that have been outlined. And it's subject to the conditions that the original plan will be amended to, as per the exhibit PB3 or A3, and the conditions, I guess what we've had is a set of conditions that were recommended in the staff reports, most of which have been accepted and by the applicant, but I just want to highlight those that either that have been discussed as not being on the original plans or otherwise rejected by the applicant. I guess to the extent the board has just talked about the issue of sidewalks on either side of the building, they were not proposed, they're not now proposed, so they're not on the plan. There was a request of meeting with the fire official for sufficient access to the front of the building, and I guess that meeting has already been accomplished. There at one point was discussion of an secondary access which is not shown, was not shown, and which SPRAB did not recommend. There were recommendations for rain gardens which won't be added, permeable paving in the parking lot that will not be implemented. The applicant will work with the landscape subcommittee on a strategy for the trees that are endangered. There will not be covering over the bike parking area. There was a suggestion in the Environmental Commission report that 75% of the demolition material be reused, and the applicant's willing to recycle but not to commit itself to a fixed percentage. There is, I guess that there are no additional traffic counts that will be provided. The applicant will comply with the noise ordinance but not change the 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and the loading area is still located in the southwest corner, notwithstanding some suggestions that it be changed. The additional conditions are the ones that were in the joint report today about the conceptual nature of, or that the engineering plans still need municipal engineering approval, landscape plan still needs review by the landscape subcommittee, and I guess we've added that condition that if the engineer finds that the plans have material changes that are implicate a site plan criteria, it's materially that that would come back to the board.
Did we ever decide about the 2 trees that the shade tree people wanted?
Yeah,
to
the
save?
catalpa is going to be saved, the elm isn't.
Okay, because they had recommended saving both.
And I don't know if David wants to add I mean, he suggested today some additional conditions.
Well, I requested the relocation of the bike parking to be closer to the rear entrance of the building, and the applicant agreed to that change.
So let's deal with you've made a motion as I expressed, and is there a second?
I'll second.
So David, you want to amend the motion?
Yeah, I would
Make
like
a motion to amend that to move the bike path.
move the bike parking. Yes.
parking, excuse me. Sure.
And I would also like to have the sidewalks on the side of the building. I think that it's a safety consideration. We did talk about it last time. I guess I thought I was more persuasive than I actually was.
Gail and I voted for it, and I
Okay, well, so we have several people absent today who were here last time, so maybe we can prevail.
No, David, let's do the bike parking first separately. Let's just do a straw
So one
vote.
amendment is that where the bike racks are located currently, as shown in the corner of the building, that be moved to the back across the parking area, closer to the front. That rear entrance is to... Wait a second.
Yeah, does somebody want to second that?
I'll second Gail Ullman.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of moving it?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Now, the sidewalk issue again. The question is whether we should add the sidewalks on the sides where they aren't now. We had a straw vote on it last time, and
I'll just, if I can remind people, there were two considerations. One was question of safety, and the other was on the opposite side, a sense that not having sidewalks there would somehow enhance the privacy for those offices that are against that parking area. And I think that my sense is that's not a real benefit. I mean, the cars are still 6 feet away from the wall. It's not really going to, it's not going to give that benefit. So I don't really see the argument against adding those sidewalks unless there's an impervious coverage issue, which I don't think you're close to your limit.
okay,
for-
I think
Well, yeah, I was,
Was that seconded?
is there a second for that?
Okay, motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. Of course, the argument goes away if there are no windows in the building.
well, I don't really, I think the safety argument is arguable because, as we discussed last time, I think it's, when you're exiting your car, you end up, you're only going across at most, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, so it's unlikely, so it's easy just to get out of your car and walk toward the front through the parking lot to the sidewalk. And now am I correct that the sidewalk is now extended also?
Yes.
It is.
So it's even closer to the back end of it. So I don't know if I don't really,
Really, you're going to have people walking behind cars that may be backing out of their parking spaces. And, I just, as I said last time, as I get older,
right,
and I try to navigate parking lots at McCaffrey's, for instance, and I know there's not going to be the same volume of traffic in this parking lot, but to try and keep tabs on other cars coming from one side or the other side and pedestrians walking blithely, behind your vehicle as you're trying to exit a parking space, especially with SUVs, which are tall and block your view to what's coming. I just think any opportunity to give people to walk on a sidewalk is a benefit, even if only a few people would use it.
but I also thought it precluded putting greenery right there. I don't know if that's,
Mildred?
I'll use the same argument I used before, which is exactly what I would do, and I'm considerably older than you. But if I'm going to park, I am going to get out of my car, or even as a passenger, I'm going to get out of my car and walk across that parking lot to find the nearest route to the door, to the opening of the building or the entrance of the building. And I think, in addition to that, it will save having more macadam or sidewalk tearing up the land we so value. So I am against it for those reasons.
But for all of those cars that are against the building, the most direct route is to go to the sidewalk and then walk around the
David,
building.
I think we're all making the same arguments we did last time.
The way the cars are parked, I wouldn't get out of my car and go in front of it to get on a sidewalk.
Right, because the car door opens, you have to go around the car door.
But, oh, is this the parking, is this the sidewalk they're talking about?
That's the sidewalk.
I thought you were talking about parking the sidewalk.
While he's trying to persuade Mildred of his view, I would like to say there are times when I make very strong suggestions that I think are very sensible, and I'm astonished when the applicant doesn't agree with me or wants something else. I happen to agree with David. I'm not inclined to make it a condition because I think it's such a good idea. I don't know why you guys don't agree with me. But it strikes me that to a certain extent, this is your building. We are telling you what we think would be wise for people who are over a certain age and whose eyesight isn't so good, who might be walking with a cane or pushing a wheelchair. And if you want to disagree with us and build something that we think is dangerous, on your heads be it. So.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that the professionals did recommend putting in these sidewalks.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And what?
When I get out of my wheelchair, I'm not...
How many was that?
Do you want a roll call, or do you want to?
Want me to do a roll call?
Yeah.
Only the people, the proposer and the seconder voted for it.
Motion did not carry. But that won't preclude the applicant from taking the good advice of Mr. Sullivan. But you have to come back to the board if you want to be implemented.
We'll take it under advisement. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have all the conditions that Alan has outlined for us. So,
I've outlined basically the items that weren't accepted. The other conditions are the conditions.
and we had, Jenny was the mover of the motion. Who was the seconder? Tim, were you the second? Okay. So, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Carmiller?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotman? Mrs. Ullman?
Yes.
Mrs. Gunning?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you,
Mildred.
everyone.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
10 after 10, I can't believe it.
I don't have any needs. I'll take one.
Let's see what.
You can't see it. I think they're identical. Unless there's something I'm missing, which I could, but I did look through it a couple times.